Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Los Angeles, California, to be pseudo-specific. My name is BrianEngelman, and today is Thursday, August 7, 2025, and this right here is the Whoa. Wait, there's the image. The TNAM Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. On today's topic, we're going to talk about Trump Chief of Staff Susie Wiles finally facing some criticism, some much earned WTF action. The entire Epstein rollout has been mind-bogglingly confusing, unless Trump's playing 17-dimensional chess, and it's all just a trap, and it's all going to be a trap and a trappity trap. Oh, and it's all a plan, and they're going to get it. Oh, no, it's just go ahead. I've never seen President Trump look this discombobulated on a topic. The administration, it doesn't look good. We don't believe that Kash Patel believes what he's saying publicly about Epstein. We don't believe that Dan Bongino believes what he's saying about Epstein publicly. Similarly, have you seen what Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, what she's not ready to say about extraterrestrials, UFOs? Well, I guess Tulsi Gabbard's husband feels the same way, an insatiable need to get to the bottom of what's happening in our skies and the submersibles that go into our water and the subterranean things that end up in our Earth. So we're going to unpack all of those stories and more on today's episode of the TNAM Daily Show here on the New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends, copy, like however you're watching it, click the copy link and text it to a couple of your smart friends and say, hey, we're talking about the news. Jump in the comment section. We're all hanging out talking about the news. That's what this is. At noon, we discuss the news. News at noon. And we also take requests. So if you have stories, comments, suggestions, questions, jokes, put them in the chat. We'll put the chat up on the screen in just a moment. And this is the beginning of the TNAM Daily Show, a division of the Agree to Disagree podcast. And it happens right now.
Guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
All right, Susie Wiles. Do we agree or disagree that Susie Wiles is most to blame for the confusing Epstein story rollout? Well, that's a lot to digest right there, but that's what we're facing. That's what we're dealing with. And I give Susie Wiles come on, like everybody, you give a little grace and you give a lot of critique, grace mixed with critique. Well, Susie Wiles has has been overseeing one of the most productive rollouts in the first 6 months of any administration in American history. Going around as a little Scott Bakula, setting right which once went wrong. To set right that which once went wrong. That is such a hard phrase for me to say. Well, Susie Wiles got a lot of credit for everything being go, 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 go. Then the confusion of the Epstein story rollout, and that's a huge detraction from the Susie Wiles story, chief of staff. I mean, she gets graded by how things go. And this is something that just, it's lingering. I'm not done with the story. I've been asked something very uncomfortable, as we all have. We've been asked, trust me. I don't like trusting. I like the Reagan philosophy of trust but verify. Trust but verify. Well, in the trust but verify realm, I have to either trust that we're going to get to the Epstein thing in a minute. We're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, as Dan Bongino told us. There's more to come. Don't worry, we're figuring it out. The same people who set up the grand conspiracy have had these files for 4 years. We're trying to determine what's accurate and what's a trap. I mean, it sure sounds like they poisoned the documents. And that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust us. We need to investigate ourselves to determine if we did anything wrong, right? That's not an enviable position to be in by any stretch of the imagination. I don't like that you're in that spot. I don't like being in that spot. But I have to either trust the Joe Biden team that's been human trafficking hundreds of thousands of missing unaccompanied minor children, or I have to trust the team that's been shutting down abuse rings across the country. All right. And so if it's either that way or that way, it's a pretty clear choice, but it doesn't mean I got a lot of time here on this. Like, we got to get to the bottom of it. I mean, Dan Bongino's been shaken to his core. What has shaken Dan Bongino to his core? Did he look at the Huma Abedin laptop, the Hillary Clinton laptop, the Anthony Weiner laptop? What has shaken? Did he learn about cylindrical food parties at the White House? Or circle food, Italian food at the, like, what are we even talking about? The rollout. Oh, here's the Epstein files. Here's your printout. Here's your 3-ring binder. We're going to bring 5 influencers in. Hold them up. Yeah, you got something. No, you didn't get anything. There was nothing in there. We want to know who's on the inner circle. We get it. Bobby Kennedy was on the Epstein plane. That's outer ring stuff. Private jets are flown from city to city all the time when they're not needed. Photographs, connections. We know that. That's outer ring, middle ring stuff. We assume that guy was trying to hobnob with everybody everywhere to maybe get some dirt on him, you know? Maybe get a little dirt. That's how the game is played, right? That's the best we can do as a society. It's not about good ideas and finding a way to make people successful. It's just power, control, domination. Okay. We need to know the middle ring, inner ring, like the bullseye. The inner ring and the bullseye stuff. Who was in there doing really terrible stuff? We need to know. And the longer you start rolling these grand conspiracy charges out, accusation after accusation, but you're not going to actually file an indictment, you're not actually going to arrest and give these people a perp walk, that is a big mistake. Don't leave a cornered animal a lot of time to think through a strategy. Just go. You got them. You got the info on your side. Just do it already. But Susie Wiles, this is according to the Real State of America. Let's expand on this post. Trump admin officials, hang on, can you still see this? Let me change. Nope. Go that way. Trump admin officials are set to sit down and discuss the handling of the case involving Jeffrey Epstein, per CNN. The meeting will reportedly be held at Vice President J.D. Vance's residence and will include J.D. Vance, the Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, AG Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Bongino's sitting this one out. Actually, that's a good comment. So does this mean that Bongino is sitting this one out? What does that mean for the Epstein situation if Dan isn't around? Because you heard about that big flare-up between Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino. So we'll just say that story is circulating. It's huge news because for all the praise that you could heap upon Susie Wiles for some of the successes in the first 6 months of the Trump administration, and it's almost impossible to argue that anyone else has been more effective in the first 6 months. However, what is going on with the Epstein stuff? Not forgetting, I've just been told, hang on a second, they're trying to release all the credible information. That is not the same as all of the things that are sitting around. To me, it sounds like they were given stuff that would frame their own administration. Incorrect, fraudulent, conspiratorial, coup, overthrow stuff. That's my interpretation of it. Hello, Nick and John and Deb and everybody in chat. Thank you all for being here today. Unseen one here. How many? Oh, this is several. All right. If the gotta switch the perspective. If the tariffs hurt the United States, why is the president of Switzerland in such a panic? It's a good question. The Kobayashi letter says Switzerland's president, tough word to say, Switzerland's president is flying to the United States today as the country races to lower President Trump's 39% tariff. That's a good comment. Try to imagine how much ill-gotten money has flowed in and out of Switzerland over the years. Can you even start to take a guess at how much dirty money's flowed in and out of Switzerland over the years? Hernan Cortez says every foreign dignitary visiting the United States should put on a Stetson hat and put their hands on a wall of the Alamo. Oh my God. That is absolutely hilarious. What is this? Leading report reporting a federal judge has struck down a California law signed by Gavin Newsom, so it's now struck down, that was restricting AI-generated deepfake content during elections, marking a win for Elon Musk and his platform X. Yeah, nice try, kid. I'm actually sort of open to having, if there is artificial content that's floating around, I wouldn't mind if it had a green box around it. I wouldn't mind if satire had a green box around it, so people wouldn't grab a story off the Onion and be like, hey, look at this story I found. It's like, I know it ruins some of the fun of the headlines and the jokes to be like, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. But, it would be helpful if we could tell when we're consuming a joke. I mean, I know that we know now. The legacy media companies are the joke. We used to tune in hoping we were getting the news. I'm going to say the news is here, and I'm going to share this on our Facebook groups. There it goes. But yeah. That's hilarious. How do you feel about this, Hernan Cortez? Every foreign dignitary visiting the United States should put on a Stetson hat and put their hands on a wall of the Alamo. That's a mighty fine joke. I think that's pretty doggone good, actually. Tony Rigatoni, why should I have to live a worse life so you can come to my country for a better life? Oh. Yeah. And you know what that means? If you come into my house and you're going to commit crimes, you're gone. Like you're telling me you're not only just on your... Okay, hold on. What am I trying to say? Not only should you be on your best behavior, you should be volunteering to go out of your way to be seen as an asset to the community, not all the detriments, the people that are coming in just to commit crimes, using up our resources for our American assistance programs for people that aren't from here. No, we're not doing that. Nobody ever voted for that. Nobody ever wanted that. That was the Obama doctrine. That wasn't ever voted on by the people. No one in their right minds would walk over our own homeless, our own veterans struggling on the streets, our own single mothers with 2 children working 3 jobs, to give money to someone to come in here and commit crimes and have a better life. Why should the quality of our life, why should we have to step over trash and graffiti and clean up the damage of crime? Nope. Brian, you're not saying that everybody that comes to the U.S. is committing crime. That's insane. Don't you know that, like, illegal alien invaders are like a lower per capita percentage of arrests? They're not like arrested at a high... It's really the white people that are bad in America. Anyway, it's white people that are bad, and the people... They come in, they're not even, they're part of the numbers, the percentage. They don't even commit crime like at all. That's what it sounds like to me when you wind one of these NPCs up and they stop. MSNBC told me to say something. I was watching CNN and some lady had the same opinion. So I'm going to say that opinion because I think that's a smart opinion, because it means that I can virtue signal and say that everything wrong in the world is because of somebody else. And I'm the one that's smart enough to see it all. And I'm going to correct all the things. And the people that come in here and they do... I mean, guys, right? Why should I live a worse life so you can come to my country for a better life? Alex here says, breaking in just the past 24 hours, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has suspended a Biden-era program that financially rewarded hospitals for vaccinating their staff. Thank you. Banned a mercury-based substance from vaccines. Thank you. I mean, if you break a thermometer, it's like it's a biological hazard. Do you want mercury inside of you if you can't even smell it? Brian, there's more to it than that. And not everything that smells bad or that could damage you from smell. Sometimes things need to get inserted into you. Okay, fine. Bobby Kennedy Jr. was such an important pick by President Trump. Go Maha. There you go. RFK Jr. pulls $500 million in funding for vaccine development. I believe that was specifically for mRNA vaccines. All right. Real America's Voice talking about how Hillary and Bill Clinton might need to look out for charges coming. What is this about?
Would like to also touch on some of these subpoenas coming out from Jamie Comer's office regarding RussiaGate and the deep state coup. It seems like he has a timeline to talk to these people. What do you know about that?
Yeah, there's a little bit of timeline. I know some of the subpoenas that went out, those are set to make their way into D.C. Towards the end of August, perhaps even September. But I've also heard, hey, even though we got these subpoenas and we're going to bring them in for questioning, getting indictments is one thing, getting a conviction on some things or another. And if you turn your attention to all of the Epstein information with Bill and Hillary Clinton coming in here as well, there's a lot to uncover there. It's a lot to unpack with this investigation. I've got some sources, some independent journalists that have really put a lot of time in this. Look out for money laundering charges and the interest going towards Hillary and Bill Clinton.
But I would like.
We're going to put time to pay the piper button. Oh, yeah, because you'd be in jail. Well, maybe that will actually happen. I'm a little hopeful. All right, here's Tulsi Gabbard, another great selection.
I didn't.
For President Trump's new administration. I mean, what can I say? She's been as impressive as Bobby Kennedy Jr., right?
Know until later the extent of how many air marshals they required to watch me and who had to type up reports
to get up on a plane with you and travel with you.
From drop off to move through the airport, to get on the plane, to landing at my destination and out to the curb.
The left, the deep state, made the big mistake of targeting Tulsi Gabbard as a bad guy. It's a girl. I know. The deep state, tried to frame her as a Russian asset. Everything, you've seen that children's book, Everything I Don't Like is Hitler. Well, yeah, it's everything I don't like is Russian. Russia. They're the bad guys everywhere. Blame everything on Russia because we must destroy Russia. Why? Because Russia's one of the last stronghold Christian Orthodox nations on the globe, and they're not going to tolerate their borders being blown apart like all of Europe has, like Canada has, like Biden, Obama, Harris, Mayorkas, we're all doing at our border. Well, the deep state Democrats made the mistake of going after Tulsi Gabbard. If you come at the Queen, you best not miss. That's a quote from The Wire. Come at the king, you best not miss. Well, they went after Tulsi, and she's pissed. And she has a right to be. They framed her, an American hero, as being a traitor. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. And now the shoe's on the other foot. Or as Michael Scott would say in The Office, my, how the turntables.
The real chilling effect here. And obviously I may be one of the better known people who's been on this list. But unfortunately, there are many Americans who have been targeted.
We have been targeted at the New American Media immensely. This was a coordinated effort to unperson, unplatform, unbank, unemploy. It's just been, you get caught in the spider web. They come at you from every direction. If you're not on their good list, you're on the naughty list. You don't get cookies and milk. You get a lump of coal. Oh, yeah, we've been targeted by these same creeps.
Either for political reasons or for no reason at all, experiencing what is essentially illegal and unconstitutional surveillance
it must
by the government.
Feel very violating.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And this is the I think the real implication here is people will see me on TV criticizing Hillary Clinton's foreign policies, criticizing Kamala Harris's foreign policies, talking about how dangerous either one of them would be as president and commander in chief, and then very publicly seeing how the government and the intelligence is being weaponized against me. It can have a very chilling effect on people to say, oh my gosh, like this is happening to somebody who's in the military and who served as a member of Congress, who ran for president, and she's speaking out and speaking the truth and standing up against these very powerful people. What would happen to everyday American?
And that's been Podforce 1 with Miranda Devine. Yeah. The chilling effect is real. Kenneth says, oh, Tulsi, there's my future ex-wife. Let me let that finish there. I don't know what that music is. Does it?
No, until later.
We'll pause it on Tulsi there while we talk. Kenneth says, Tulsi, there's my future ex-wife. On the callback, Kenneth says, I drive a Lincoln Mercury. Should I be concerned? Yes, you should, Kent. Is it time to smash open the skulls of my opponents and feast upon the goo inside? Yes, it is, Kent. I'd like to be the first one to welcome our giant ant alien overlords. All hail the ants. Question of the day. Do you know what that Easter egg is from? What I'm quoting? Yes, I should, Kent. Lake Leon says Tulsi would kick your butt and make you like it. I know I would. Yeah, my brother loved Tulsi Gabbard. One of his favorites. He was always a little extra. I felt a little extra unnecessarily critical toward Trump. You know, I don't grant anyone deity status where they're beneath criticism or critique. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, in light of all of the things, I only have so many F's to give, and I'm not going to waste them. You know, if I have $1 worth of change, I'll throw a few pennies a certain direction, but I'm not throwing my quarters on issues unless they really deserve it. But yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, the chilling effect was real. I was deplatformed off of YouTube, off of Facebook, off of Instagram, off of, you know, and whatever remains, it's just a shell of what was happening when I was getting hundreds of thousands of views on videos. It's like a totally different world. I'm just banging my head up against a brick wall, and it's like, thank you to the 43 people that saw that video, but why didn't 430 people see it? Why didn't 4,300 people see it? Why didn't 43,000 people see that? Wouldn't that be helpful? Wouldn't it be great if we were collecting advertising revenue? So for Tulsi Gabbard getting thrown on the spy list, yeah, like nobody wants that. And it has a chilling effect. They're like, shit, I better not speak up. Look what they're ruining the lives of anybody who's opposing them. Yeah, you're letting the brown shirts run through town and they're taking over. Look at England. England's been overthrown in a caliphate. They got invaded. There's many ways to get invaded. But the military industrial complex, the lying legacy media, the dirty deep state Democrats, and I'm blending the Democrats and the deep state together at this point. They are the same thing. They are scrambled eggs. I don't see any way you can separate them. They are one and the same. That concoction also includes many Republicans, by the way. But the chilling effect was real. I took a job. I put my head down. I'm like, I can't even get a message out. I can't talk about vaccines. I can't talk about COVID. I can't talk about the 2020 election. What's the fucking point? What am I even? Oh, hey, let me wave my hand around and go, hey, guys, I'm just going to tell you the truth about things a little while over here. By the way, if I ever need a job, make sure that you put me on the ineligible to be hired list. I really want a super big bullseye on top of me. Oh, by the way, it's not like I'm trading in the ability to work a 9-to-5 corporate job for this lucrative career in media. I'm also not going to be able to monetize any of my content, and our thousands of subscribers aren't going to be able to ever see it. So yeah, I'm getting the best of both worlds over here myself. The best of both worlds. Super happy. But what else are you supposed to do when you see your country being overthrown? What else are you supposed to do? I mean, we were literally there on January 6th. We've been covering these big stories for 14 years. So yeah, Tulsi's not a fan of what happened when she ended up on the list. And you know what? I'm not a big fan of what happened to me and the New American Media when we ended up on that dirty, deep state, divisive, demonic Democrat list as well. But we're doing what we can to create content. Hopefully you are enjoying some of it. And to anybody who has tried to help us circumvent, I know how Louder with Crowder had to create Mug Club so that every month $7 bills or $15 bills. And, you're like, okay, I can get $60 out of a supporter that year. Now I can at least base this on, I know what's coming in each month. I can find the revenue. I can find the expenses. We can build. Even if YouTube keeps our content from making money, we can at least pay our staff by doing this. So we don't have Mug Club, but we do have Patreon. Thank you to everybody. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, patreon.com/The New American Media. One of our recent subscribers, the payment did bounce back. So if you have recently subscribed, if you could double check what's going on there, because something was marked as fraud. Nothing ever cleared, nothing ever processed, but something was marked as fraud if you recently signed up. So we'd love to have you back supporting us. At the, what is it? I think it's like at a $5 per creation level. There's different options you can select. But thank you to everybody there. We also have a tip jar if anyone wants to throw something in. And those of you that do, you fill up the tank. It matters. Every $100, it's like, oh, there's a cable bill for the month. Oh, there's the electric bill for the month. Oh, okay. Well, this helps me pay. I got to pay $7 a month for the X account. I have to pay $60 a month for the Restream account. Okay. And it's like, as it comes in, it balances, and then the expenses are covered. And then hopefully, we can get to where we're trying to get. We want to expand. We want to hire some additional people. So thank you to everybody who's thrown something in the tip jar. We're on Venmo and Cash App at my name. That's Brian Engelman. And then PayPal, the email address to use. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Thank you very much to everybody who supported us. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D-Live, and YouTube at The New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, on X at American_Media_. And please, all of you who do the podcast thing, go over to Spotify or Apple or whatever and subscribe to the Agree to Disagree show. I think we're going to be having a special guest this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. There should be a second special show discussing UFOs, gerrymandering, Ghislaine's dad funding and founding Israel, Epstein, Ukraine, the Fed in China, and more. Special guest, Pastor Bruce, a returning guest. So check that out at 8 o'clock. And subscribe to all the places for the New American Media. All right. So there's Tulsi Gabbard. And we're very happy to have her in government. All right. Michael Schellenberger is a good follow as well. He says, yesterday we reported that a senior CIA analyst said Obama's CIA director was pathological and put agency analysts under duress to use bogus intelligence. Today we report that the CIA remains corrupted by systemic rot and that crucial reforms have not been put in place. Well, that's super. That's not good. Yesterday, we reported on Public's exclusive interview with a CIA analyst who co-authored a misleading January 2017 intelligence community assessment, ICA, that was crucial. It was a crucial part of the strategy by Democrats, the intel community, and the media to depict President Donald J. Trump as a puppet of Russian President Vladimir Putin. And I'm going back to the day I'm thinking about it. I tried to blow this stuff off. Free Breather? What is up, Free Breather? Brian, did you take the MOTB? What is the MOTB? Mother of the bomb? Moab is mother of all bombs, MOAB. What is MOTB? I need no NKOTB. Can you clarify? But during the first part of the Trump administration, the first administration, I mean, I laughed at these idiots for a while, and they kept going, and they kept going, and they kept going, and they kept going. And then at some point, you're like, well, they couldn't keep going this long with nothing, could they? Yep, that was all about nothing. All about nothing. So there has to be justice for what they did to stage a coup. Sedition, treason, coup, overthrow. To overthrow the duly elected president of the country. Yeah, there need to be consequences for that. The comment here, when the F are people going to be put in handcuffs? Indict the top 500 traitors already. Button. There you go. Nope, not answering that. We're going to have to keep hanging tough, all right? We're going to have to keep hanging tough, free breather. I mean, we all know who the favorite member of NKTOB. All right, what is MOTV? I'm getting confused. I'm going to have an aneurysm trying to decipher your comments. All right. It says here, the person blamed President Barack Obama's CIA director from this whistleblower here. Obama's CIA director, John Brennan, was blamed with a pathological need for control for the ICA. And so there was a strong opposition within the CIA among analysts and Russia experts up the chain of command against including the Hillary Clinton Campaign Commission Steele dossier, which claimed without basis that Putin controlled Trump through sexual blackmail. And the CIA analysts buckled to pressure from Brennan to claim that Putin aspired to help Trump win. Policymakers, congressional oversight, and the public focus on the sexy sides of CIA, human intelligence operations, high technology, and covert action, said the ICA's co-author, what they have neglected is a systemic rot that has emerged over the past 20 plus years thanks to Brennan and some of his proteges and confederates, including former Deputy Director Michael Morell and former Deputy Director of National Intelligence Morgan Muir. That from Michael Schellenberger. It's time to indict the top 500 traitors already. Can we agree or disagree with that? Schellenberger is a good follow. Hey, Californians have had about enough. I can attest to some of this. I had a tweaker steal a bunch of my shit. Oh, yeah. They broke into our mailboxes with crowbars. They broke into our laundry rooms and destroyed our washers and dryers to steal the quarters and then run extension cords out the windows to steal our electricity. Oh, they rummaged through our carports and our cars. They stole stuff out of trunks and truck beds. These meth heads are zombies, dude. They're zombies. Can't stand them. Dealt with a thief with a property, doing property management. Went into a homeowners association and they were using a skeleton key. Somehow they got one of the U.S. mail code skeleton key, generic opening the door, such and suches, and had repeatedly been stealing mail and then selling the fraudulent credit card offers and this and that and the other thing. Well, here's a video on ABC 7 out of California. This dude goes outside. Residents of Studio City, California, tired of having their mail stolen and being ignored by police, take matters into their own hands. Vigilante justice is about to reign supreme in Gavin Newsom's lawless California, and it won't end well, says real Brooklyn patriot. Take a watch.
What's up, buddy? You like to steal mail? You like to steal mail? Yeah? You like to steal mail? Huh? 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 You like to steal mail? You like to steal mail, mother? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Where are you going? Huh? Oh! Huh? Help him out, dude. What's up, buddy? You like to steal mail? You like to steal mail? Yeah? You like to steal mail? Huh? 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 You like to steal mail? You like to steal mail, mother?
This is exactly what's going to happen in the neighborhood.
Yeah, go ahead.
The guy that was ravaging our neighborhood. Someone may or may not
Help him out, dude.
put a hit out on him. When you won't get protection from your local police, you're encouraging vigilante justice. I'm not going to roll back and allow it. That's what by the way, don't let anyone ever tell you that the word militia is a bad thing. Militia is a first responder. When a community needs protection, a militia member is the first responder. Can't stand these damn junkies, these idiots, these meth heads, these organized criminals, these cartel members, gangbangers, whatever you want to call it. If you're going around causing problems in your neighborhood, you need a comeuppance. And we all need to act like the shepherd of our own personal communities to watch over things. That's how I see it. President Trump was asked about Elon Musk. And, they had their back and forth because of reasons, right? Epstein was brought up. And it's like, well, whose side are you on? You're like, oh, I don't know. Well, here's Trump. He was asked about this.
Wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment. But he's a good person. I believe that.
I'm wondering, do you miss?
So, I mean, is that fair? We're going to type the whole Epstein, Susie Wiles led. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. The whole Susie Wiles led Epstein info rollout has been
Having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
bad moment.
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment. But he's a good person. I believe that.
I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll?
So as he looks down, looks away, kind of shakes his head, I don't know, shrug of the shoulder, But, I think he's a good person. I believe that. So just judging on body language, is Trump playing a role there? That was what they had to do to get Elon to jettison himself as far away from Doge and Trump as possible, faking an argument, and then convincing people Trump's on the list, which will make the left start frothing at the mouth and say, oh, we got him, he's on the list, we have to demand the list. Anything Trump says, we have to do the opposite. Trump derangement syndrome. We want the list, we want the list, we want the list. And the Democrats okayed it. They ran it up their channels. They're like, we stacked the list. We framed them. They released this. They're going to bust themselves. And then when they got ready to release it, they're like, what the? That's not me. It's like Terrence and Phillip. You superimpose somebody else's face on another body. And it's like Trump giving a high five while he's doing something debaucherous. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Epstein. What's your best guess? Why has this Epstein rollout been such a train wreck? I'd love to hear your best guess. But anyway, he's a good person. He had a bad moment. President Trump answering more questions because of the Doge member Big Balls who had to intervene with a lady getting carjacked by a gang of 8 people, an organized crime ring of 8 people trying to carjack a woman. Big Balls to the rescue. And Big Balls got whooped on. Saved the day. Takes some big balls to do that, obviously. I mean, we are living in a simulation, right? Well, Trump's had about enough with the criminality in D.C., and we should have enough of the criminality everywhere. Bukele showed us go after the 1 to 5% of the people committing 95% of the problems in your community. There will be almost no problems. It's super easy to do.
Shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
And do you want Congress to look at overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best run place in the country, not the worst run place in the country. and it has so much potential, and we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged. What a shame.
We said it's time to clean every failing blue, formerly great American city. Yeah. You shouldn't have to worry about getting mugged in the process. All right, here's Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard talking about Russia and Hillary Clinton for the 2016 situation. Turns out, I don't think they were favoring Trump. It was actually the opposite. Shocking. Democrats literally taking the opposite side of every piece of reality. I'm so surprised. Oh, there we go.
Was really the key point here, which again, the mainstream media won't pay attention to, which is Russia believed, or the Russia actually claimed to have had very, very negative and derogatory information about Hillary Clinton. That if they had chosen to release that in the weeks leading up to that November 2016 election, it would have very likely had a devastating effect on her campaign.
Totally. I mean, that she was addicted to tranquilizers.
Yes.
And then you now look at that footage of her at the 9/11 ceremony in New York.
Absolutely. Wibble wobble. Like a wiggle with it, a wobble with it.
Being sort of staggering towards her van and having to be pushed in there. And now you look at that with different eyes.
That's right.
If that's correct, that she was on tranquilizers. And there was a whole lot of other negative, that she had a strange hysteria, sort of laughing and crying, and what other sorts of negative things?
That essentially the documents that Russia claimed they had portrayed Hillary Clinton as having mental health challenges that would result in fits of laughter and fits of rage. It also pointed out some very specific physical health concerns that apparently leaders within the DNC were discussing amongst each other.
That's right. This wasn't invented intelligence like the Steele dossier. This was supposedly emails
and communication among senior
hacked.
DNC officials
Right.
That Russia claimed to have in their possession. So the point here is that if Putin and Russia aspired to help Trump get elected, which is what the manufactured January 2017 intelligence community assessment says with high confidence, according to Brennan and Clapper, then Putin would have released the most damaging information and emails to help President Trump leading up to that November 2016 election. The fact is, the opposite is true. It was intentionally withheld and not released because they assumed that Hillary Clinton would win that.
And then, and don't forget, you got Burisma in Ukraine, but you also have Uranium One, the Russian nuclear deal.
That election. And their plan, according to these documents that were found in an investigation the House Intelligence Committee conducted into the CIA's creation of this January 2017 assessment, is that Russia had decided to wait until Hillary Clinton won the election and wait until maybe days or weeks before her inauguration to release these documents once again to sow
Destroy
chaos and discord in America and to undermine her presidency before she would even have the opportunity to take the oath of office. What you just mentioned was really
okay. I think reset there. It's almost like everything that the establishment line has been delivered to you as. Almost everything that's been a part of the official story has been BS. And we're all starting to figure it out now, aren't we? We're all starting to figure it out. All right, on our X feed scroll here, we're at American_media_, pinned to the top of our page. Oh, by the way, I did see a comment. I think Nick was saying he sorted something out on Patreon and it should be good to go this month. That's awesome, dude. We appreciate the support of everybody here in this network, and I do consider us to be a network. We're in this together. We have our own things. We have our collaborative things. We have other people's things. It's like Venn diagrams all overlapping. But yeah, that is our Patreon link. It's pinned at the top of our X feed. That is my interview with John B. Wells. John B. Wells of Caravan to Midnight. Prepare launch. Really good show if you haven't had a chance to check it out. Reminder, 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time, Pastor Bruce, who was also a guest on John B. Wells' Caravan to Midnight. He will be returning 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Should be a really fun show. Talking UFOs, gerrymandering, Ghislaine Maxwell's father funding and founding Israel and Zionism. His role in all of that. The Federal Reserve, the Chinese ties, Epstein, Ukraine, and more. We're going to unpack it. But yes, right there, that's our Patreon link pinned on X. Please consider signing up to support us if you appreciate what I do, what the New American Media does on all of these platforms, and what we will continue to do moving forward. Thank you all. All right, so President Trump here, scrolling down further, President Trump lashes out. So let's take a listen. According to CNN, lashing out. Well, Trump already has the hand outreach, so that's, and JD looks like he's trying to get away with something. Standing in the corner of the room, smirking, hands crossed. Here we go. By the way, if this is being delivered by CNN, I'm ready to instantly dismiss how they're framing it, but let's take a listen.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country.
He needs to describe what he means the whole thing is a hoax. The narrative that he was involved was a hoax? Or the narrative that Israel's controlling the United States through Epstein is a hoax? Or that Epstein was involved in running guns through Iran-Contra in the 80s, and this spans 5, 6, 7 presidencies and probably just as many decades? Is he saying is a hoax? And the people are putting concerns over Howard Lutnick lurking over his shoulder like he's one of his handlers. Like they don't like the optics. Like this guy's kind of pulling the puppet strings. I don't know. But I need Trump to define what he's calling bullshit.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because...
The whole thing what? That Epstein was abusing people? That's not a hoax. This messaging still doesn't work. He's not describing what's happening. The messaging still doesn't work.
Because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit.
So anyway, that's the latest messaging. I still don't think it's all that.
We understand the vice president.
Here's the second part of this. More MSNBC. So like this is the best that the left is throwing at Trump and the conservatives right now, or the MAGA members rather. Whoop. There we go.
President, again, based on that reporting, which you just heard him deny, but we understand he'll hold a strategy session with administration officials. Missing from this group is, of course, any survivor of the various crimes of convicted perjurer and sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Their voices must be heard above all. They go on to say Maxwell should have remained in a maximum security prison and does not deserve the luxuries currently afforded her. We understand the vice.
Okay. So they're meeting to kind of put some stuff together. Leading report here. Yep. Trump admin officials set to sit down, discuss the handling of the case with Epstein per CNN. We told you about that. James O'Keefe says, just in, Daniel Choi, U.S. State Department Foreign Service officer, has deleted his LinkedIn profile following the release of OMG's undercover footage revealing his relationship with a CCP official's daughter, whom he admitted could have been a spy, and his refusal to report the relationship to the department despite security concerns. Wow. I defied my government for love. Is that a quote? Well, anyway, that's a 10-minute clip from James O'Keefe. Check out his latest report. Why is Watson trending? It's not like Deshaun Watson is going to train, or he's not going to play today. They're showing Deshaun Watson here, but in college. All right. Moving on. Here is Stephen Miller talking about Democrats and House seats and all the gerrymandering you can imagine. Here's the long story short. Tell me if I'm wrong. The Democrats have gerrymandered almost everything imaginable. It's absurd. Literally anything the Republicans can do. The Democrats are almost out of shots. They can't really gerrymander anything any worse than they have, except a little bit in California and a little bit in New York. Everywhere else, the Republicans are going to come out way ahead, and the maps are going to make a heck of a lot more sense. So let's listen to Stephen Miller's take.
Illinois, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts. Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition to try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens.
No, illegal aliens do not count for congressional purposes. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense to anyone anywhere. That just doesn't make sense.
Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party, Sean.
There you go. DC Drano says this is huge. Trump tells the Department of Commerce to redo the census and remove illegal aliens from it. President Trump says, I've instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. All caps. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's the way it's supposed to be. Bitcoin Magazine reporting that President Trump will sign an executive order on Thursday aiming to allow Bitcoin and crypto into our 401ks. Per Bloomberg. Oh my gosh. JD Vance says, well, I've finally made it. By the way, that's a huge deal. So if you're sitting crypto out, I'm not sponsored by a crypto company. I'm not selling gold or silver per se. I think a diversification of where you put your stuff is probably smart for 1,000 reasons. But maybe a little bit into crypto might be a fantastic idea. And the longer you wait, well, the worse it gets for you. I think I saw a sports story about Ellie De La Cruz on the Cincinnati Reds superstar. What team was it? The Red Sox sent a clear message about how the Reds are screwing up Ellie De La Cruz. You should sign him to his big extension as quick as possible because they only get more expensive with age. Just sign them quick. That was the Cleveland Indians strategy, the mid-90s. Kenny Lofton, Omar Vizquel, Carlos Baerga, Kenny Lofton, Sandy Alomar, Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome. You sign them early and you get them a nice, moderate contract instead of languishing as a rookie. Pay him a little bit more up front because then you can buy some more into the best careers these superstars are having. Anyway, back to investments. The addition of crypto to 401ks, I mean, my Lord, the boom of the industry. Just think about what this means. And yeah, maybe it all could be something they pull the rug on one of these days and somebody gets to make every account go to zero somehow. They say on the blockchain, that's impossible. If somebody does something weird, that's fine. They're excluded and that they don't get to change the rest of the blockchain just because they're trying to play weird. But we were told President Trump, I filmed President Trump talking about crypto and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about how he's steering President Trump closer to crypto and how President Trump is on his own free will and accord leaning more toward crypto during the campaign. We were very transparent about that. This administration is moving toward a pro-crypto stance, and if you're not in the market, I would consider finding a way to do so. Which is a reminder, I need to set up a crypto wallet so people could drop stuff in the tip jar through crypto. Let me remind myself to do that. Set up crypto tip jar ASAP. All right. Well, that's huge news according to Bitcoin Magazine. JD Vance says, well, I finally made it. Here you go. There's little JD. Let me full screen this. There it is. So South Park's going hard at Trump. Welcome to Mar-a-Lago. Hashtag South Park. So there's President Trump and little JD, little chipmunk JD. He says, well, I finally made it. Haven't watched an episode this season, but I need to. Have you watched an episode this season of South Park since they signed their mega deal? $1.5 billion? The Cleveland Guardians are streaking. Almost had a perfect game. I'm sorry, a no-hitter yesterday. Up and 2 outs left in the 9th inning. Juan Soto hits a solo home run for the Mets to break it up, but the Indians won again, and they're all right. I have more stories to tell on the X feed, but I'm going to have to let our X feed tell them for us. Stop where we're scrolling at that point with the Indians, the Guardians and Tigers WWE GIF, and check out the stories underneath because they're all worthy. But I'm doing 2 shows today. Tune back in at 8 p.m. Eastern for our chat with Pastor Bruce, where we're going to discuss UFOs, gerrymandering, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, founding and funding Israel, the Fed-China connection, Epstein, Ukraine, and more on a special The Agree to Disagree show tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll get to do this twice. Z-plane, boss. Z-plane. Or as Homer Simpson says, crypto. That's a good one. That was my question of the day, the Easter egg quote. The Simpsons. Usually, when in doubt, just guess that I'm quoting The Simpsons. And I've drifted away to a little fantasy land where I'm reenacting a scene and quoting it verbatim as close as possible. All right. Well, that's what I got for you today. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back at 8 p.m. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.